Hey guys, my video actually got cut off and I didn't realize it until I replayed the video that I posted about a couple of minutes ago. So this is my intro. I apologize about the cut off video. I obviously didn't do it intentionally. And this is a video that really need to absorb and watch the entire thing or listen to understand it and be able to beat the system. All right. So let's actually get into the video. And if you did watch the original video, you can jump right through. It's going to be slide number 7, and you can see it in blue at the top so that you know whether you're in the right place. Today, we are talking about the misconception, and it's a huge one. And if you understand this, you can use it to beat the system. And yes, it is a system. What? Well, the bureaus just report the information that they're given. Now, as simple as that sounds, a lot of consumers don't understand this. And if you understand this, you'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate the process, and you will use it to capitalize and leverage and get your results. Look, the bureaus are in the data business. They're not in the credit business. They obtain, maintain, and sell information. That is what they do. They maintain these massive databases, right? Your information, your mom's information, your dad's information, your cousin's information, everybody's, right? There's 68 million people with bad credit, and there's 270 million or some odd scoreable consumers, and all those people's information is in these huge databases, and that is what they do. They write these algorithms and they all that stuff. That's what they do. They're not in the credit business. When you send in a dispute letter, it's basically going to what I consider the complaints department, right? That's what it is. You're sending it into the complaints department. And that's why the process is what it is, right? Their job is to report the information that the creditors pay them to, right? So if you have a small little rinky-dink medical collection agency, they're going to report to maybe TransUnion because they're the cheapest, or TransUnion and Equifax if they're kind of, a medium company. And if it's a larger company, let's just say like Capital One, they're going to report to all three. And they're going to report when you opened it, when you paid on time, when you didn't pay on time, that it went to charge off, collection, so on and so forth. They are paying to report this information. So that means, number 3, that the Bureau's customers are the creditors. They are not the consumers. Their direct customer is the creditor. Okay? Their direct customer is the creditor. So what does that mean? That means that it is in the Bureau's best interest, right, to appease the creditor, not the consumer. And that also means that they are not going to speak for the Bureau's, the creditor's money, right? And most importantly, what happens if this whole system fails? Like, what happens if, one day the creditors all get together, big conglomerate, and they all sit in this room and they're like, hey, you know what, dude, this is not working out. Too many people, millions of people are able to just remove their negative items and pretend like it didn't happen. And the information that we get when we pull a new report to give Bob and Susie their mortgage, it's not information that we can trust. So if the creditors feel that they can no longer trust that the bureaus will report correct information, they're going to stop lending based off of credit reports and scores. And that's going to be scary. That is going to be scary because failure of the credit reporting system would result in the cease of lending by financial institutions and the creation of a unified reporting system reflecting centralized payment data and the end of the ability to dispute this data, right? Because it would all originate directly from the lenders. So if you screwed over Capital One, or let's just use Bank of America, right? Because there's more Bank of America walk-in institutions than there are Capital One, unless you live in somewhere like New York City. So let's pretend we're talking about Bank of America. You screw over Bank of America, $2,000, not a large amount, right? But you're like, hey, I now want a line of credit with Capital One. Due to the fact that you screwed over the other bank, when you go into the new bank to get an account, even for $200, you're not going to get it because all they have to do is the same thing that you do when you want to check your bank account balance. They're going to log in to this centralized system. And they're going to see that you did not pay Bank of America. And they're going to be like, oh, hold your horses, dude. No, no. Like, you totally need to satisfy that first and probably, like, wait 5 years and then come back. So if I were to use an example, it would probably have to be, okay, so back when I had the majority of my surgeries, so started when I was 14, I'm 36 now, so obviously that's a long time. There wasn't like a central system where like one doctor can log in and see all your medical records, medications that you're taking, everything that they've done to you, your surgical records, all that kind of stuff. Now it's really by state, but soon, I give it maybe 5 years, it's going to be like where someone can log in California and see the stuff that you did in New York, right? So what happened was they came up with a system. I think it's called Hicksney, New York or something. So they came up with a system that you agreed to, like you have to check a box, yes or no, that you agreed to let Dr. X see your records that Dr. Y and A and B and C and D and all of them put into the system. So it's a centralized database that shows how many doctors you've been going to, your medication list, how many times you went to the emergency room, your x-rays, your surgical records, every single thing that went into that system. Now, all of these doctors can log in and see, right? Same thing that, I did this, rotation in trauma center in Palo Alto, and there was a guy that came in and he was like, oh my God, like I broke my foot and I need pain meds. And they're like, okay, well, let's get an x-ray first and let's just look at your records. So they go and they log in and they look at his records and they saw that he like broke his own foot just to go in there to get drugs. But they were able to see this, that he went to like 5 hospitals in the past 24 hours trying to get medication, and that he didn't know that he was in the system that, number one, flags you as, a user or an abuser or a seeker, but that all these other doctors can see this, right? So that's the type of system that I'm talking about. So when I say the creation of a unified reporting system reflecting centralized payment data, that's what I'm talking about. And because there is no third party such as a credit bureau to screw things up and report, false or inaccurate information, there's no way for you to dispute it. So this gets rid of, your ability to have a semblance of control over your credit that you've actually had since, 1973 or so. Prior to that, we really couldn't access our own information. I mean, as crazy as that sounds. So I've been warning you guys that things like this are going to happen. And basically everything that I've said has come true. So what's the deal? Well, here's a misconception. Like I mentioned, the credit bureaus speaking for the creditor's money. Dude, they're not. They're not there. They can't say, oh, well, I see that you owe $2,000, but don't worry about this $2,000. We're just going to get rid of it. Don't even worry about it. The bureaus can't speak for the creditor's money, okay? And here's another thing. There's no humans involved. Okay, so if you go and look this up yourself, I'm not giving you false information, but do your due diligence and look this up yourself. There's 25,000 employees for Experian, and they're all working from home right now. It was like a memorandum that went out and it said effective immediately, all Experian employees are going to work from home. So this, 262,000 square foot facility that spans 26, city blocks or whatever for Experian, it's like run by a handful of people that man machines, and that's it. Everybody else is working from home. It's not just Twitter. It's not just Google employees. It's like people that actually process information, okay? Like your disputes, unless you are, and yes, I'm going to say this, Jay-Z or Beyonce or the president or president-elect, your stuff does not go to a human, okay? And another thing is that even if it did, you're not on the VIP list. And so therefore, it's going to be turned into a small 2 to 3 digit code, and it's going to go through the Oscar, and it's going to go and it's going to say, hey, look, I'm a computer. This is information that I have. What's your information? Is it the same? Yes? Okay, it's verified. So when you get frustrated that your stuff is coming back as verified and they're, or they're just not responding to you, you have to understand the system that is in place, not just in general. We're not talking about a regular dispute process. We are in a different time right now. Okay. We're headed into a different economy. Nothing is the same. The credit game is not the same. Nothing is the same. And speaking of the credit game, oh my God. Okay. Get your own content for your videos. Seriously, stop stealing my content. Anywho, moving forward, the reason why you have one computer speaking to another and coming up with the same result is because the creditors are the ones that are giving the bureaus the information, right? So obviously they're going to have the same information. And you send this super detailed, 90-page letter, and it all gets turned into this little code that says, not mine. Wasn't late. Belongs to someone else. So once you understand how this works, you can use it to get your results. But if you don't understand it, if you don't know the misconception and you don't understand the process, then you can't appreciate it and you cannot use it to your advantage. And guess what? Their cheapest tactic is to ignore you. Especially right now when millions of people aren't paying their bills. Especially right now when millions of people didn't pay their mortgages. And especially right now when there's like all of these people that are trying to get new credit when they didn't pay their previous credit, and banks are not freaking lending anymore right now. I mean, we're going to talk about that in a second, but don't you understand that all they have to do is say verified, 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 and you're going to go away. All they have to do is ignore you and you're going to go away. There's only a small percentage of consumers that actually stick with the program, stick with disputing, doing it the right way, that actually get to the end. And they know this. They know that we live in a microwave society. We want everything right now, right now, right now. Instant gratification, microwave food, fast food, drive-through movies, all this stuff, right? We want it all right now. We don't want to wait. We don't want to put in the time. We don't want to invest in ourselves. And they know that. And that is why all they have to do is ignore you. Because guess what? Look how much money they've already lost. Just look at the original thing, right? How did they lose money originally? You didn't pay them, right? Or you paid them late, and so they reported it. So they lost money there. Even if you eventually paid them, or it was just a 30-day or whatever, they still lost money. That was the first time they lost money. Then they tried to collect it from you, right? Mail, phone, collection agency, whatever. They lost money there. Then if they actually had to sell the account, they only made a little shebang off of it, right? They lost money there. Then if they try to take you to court or whatever, they're going to lose money there. They have to actually hire someone to take you to court to maybe get money. Because guess what? If they get a judgment against you, all you have to do is move out of state. And what are they going to do? Right? The cheapest tactic for them is to ignore you. Because it also costs them money to investigate. That's manpower, that's people, that's computers, that's all that kind of stuff. Dude, all they gotta do is ignore and you're gonna go away. You're probably watching this after getting ignored yourself or being told that it's verified and you're just like, I'm gonna give up. I gotta find something else. Right? How many times did you actually dispute before you said, I'm gonna give up? Once? Twice? 3 times? Seriously? How hard did you work to graduate from college or from high school or get your GED? You worked hard, right? You worked your butt off, right? Even just to get passing grades, you worked really, really hard. I mean, unless you're freaking Einstein and everything comes simple to you. I mean, but even then, advanced calculus or whatever, I don't know. I don't really care. So you worked you worked your ass off to get everything that you have right now. Your job, your car, your house, your apartment, the shoes that you're wearing right now. You worked for them, right? So how is this any different? Why do people think that this is going to come easy? That the most important thing that's going to open the door to all these different opportunities, that it's going to come easy. It's not. That's a huge misconception. It is a myth. And these things are sold to you so that you're just going to open your wallet. And that's not the truth. That is not the truth. This is difficult. This is just as hard or harder than you doing this the first time, because you did it the first time, you screwed up, and now you want to do it again, right? But you first have to clean it up before you even think about that mortgage or the new credit cards or the loans or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying here. Okay. This is difficult. And if you don't invest in yourself correctly the first time, it's going to just get harder and harder. And the longer you dispute, the harder it is to get your deletions. And guess what? These letters, these, templates that people think are, oh my God, so threatening. They're not threatened by a few letters. I hear this all the time. They have to respond to me or it needs to be deleted. Well, guess what? Their computer, first of all, is going to say that they did respond, and then, you're shit out of luck, right? And okay, well, if they were threatened by a few letters, then the laws would be changed to ban them. Simple as that. I could give you like 90 million different examples of that. But do you remember when e-cigarettes came out? I actually remember the first commercial I saw about them. What was that chick's name? Jenny McCarthy, I think. She was like, "Oh, now I can like smoke inside the bar. I don't have to go outside when it's raining and stand." It was either stand behind a dumpster or hide behind a dumpster so I don't get wet in the rain. I can just smoke inside. Because it's not real smoke, it's not going to bother anybody. I'm not going to go home to my children stinking like a cigarette, and everything's going to be great, right? So then, because people were smoking inside and all this kind of stuff, and they didn't know what was actually in these e-cigarettes and all that kind of crap, they put all these restrictions on them. Right. So everyone's doing it, and then they put all these restrictions on them. They changed the laws. I think they actually banned them in certain states or counties or whatever. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying here. There's like so many different references that I can give. But when they're threatened by something, when there's a problem, they change the laws and they ban it or they restrict it, whether it's the manufacturer or whatever, they change the laws. So if you think that they were threatened by this whatever letter, right? The 1681 letter, 609, a 604, a 611, a 623, they would ban them. It's as simple as that. And let's just send a letter and boom, all the accounts are gone, and now I can get new credit and do it all over again, right? Wrong. The system exists so that if it's used the right way, you can remove inaccurate negative information. You can raise your credit scores and rebuild. That's called finding the key, right? It has to be done the right way. Let's look at the real though. Let's just do it. So what do you do? How do we capitalize? Oh, right. This is actually where I got cut off before. So what do you do? How do we capitalize off of this? It's really, really simple. We fight them. The only way to win is to continue disputing. It's not to send in one letter. It's not to send in two letters. It's not to send in three letters. You need to dispute, right? You need to dispute until that account, until that inquiry, until that personal information, until that bankruptcy comes off. That's it. When they don't respond, pull a new report and tackle the next inaccuracy. Why do you think that I break this whole shebang down? Why do you think there's a formula for the dispute reasons? Why do you think there's a formula for the letters? Why do you think there's a breakdown with the ladder going down the pyramid method and the evolution line method and the dispute funnel? It's because it's not just one letter. It's not just two letters, okay? We keep a log of all the violations for the CFPB complaints. They're not going to take you seriously if you're sending in one round of disputes and then sending in complaints. What are you complaining about? That you didn't pay on time and that they're reporting it? No, that's not how it works. You need to complain about the violations because you are sending in your factual disputes. They're not responding. They are responding, but they're just telling you one thing or another, and it's just not working. You're not getting anywhere, and you're at your wit's end. And now you need to hold them accountable. And this is the way that you do it. So you hold them accountable by disputing and then going to the CFPB. That's how it works. Look at it this way. If deleting accounts were so easy, then there'd be extreme consequences. Like I said, I mean, it'd be in place by lawmakers to protect the lenders. Think child support and traffic tickets. You go to jail for not paying them. It won't be long before other types are added to this list. Don't pay it, and go to jail. Debtor's jail, right? If you go back through my videos, you're going to find predictions about credit that have come to fruition. I feel that this is no different. With the pandemic changing everything, restrictions have gotten tighter and tighter. 15% of lenders say limits for prime borrowers are near their tightest, and 43 said limits for subprime are near their tightest, right? They're taking action to minimize risk. That's what they're doing. They're trying to control outstanding balances, and it protects against harder economic times and bankruptcy. Just over half of lenders are requiring higher credit scores from new customers. And this is taken out of an article. I've got the article next to me, but I cannot recall where I took it from. But if you literally copy and paste this text into Google, you will be able to pull up that article yourself. Credit scores weren't structured for black swan events. I actually used this on the phone call earlier. Extremely rare, unpredictable scenarios that cause severe consequences, such as a pandemic. Oh my God, that explains everything about this. Why is it not easy right now? Hello, credit scores weren't structured for black swan events. Okay, neither was the system. Banks needed to raise credit scoring standards because they couldn't take the risk of lending to someone who hasn't proven to be a very low risk borrower. Okay, I love that. I love black swan events. Extremely rare, unpredictable scenarios that cause severe consequences. God, that is so deep right there. Like, seriously, that explains everything that I try to explain about why is this not easy right now? Well, why should it be? We are in the middle of a pandemic, and what are you even talking about? What dream told you that this was going to be easy? What you could do right now. This is my number one and probably my only recommendation, right? The Black Death didn't stay forever, neither will this. You need to stay the course. If you owe on your credit cards or on one of the millions of Americans doing whatever it takes to get into the black, stay the course. When the pandemic eases up and life returns to some semblance of normalcy, you'll want to be ahead of the game. Think of it as going to the DMV. And yes, you've heard me say this before, but it gives you a mental picture of what I'm talking about. You know the line's going to be long. You know that you're going to have to take the whole day off just to go to the DMV. And if you get out of line to come back another day, oh, I'll come back on Friday. I'm off on Friday. You'll not only have to get in at the end of the line, but all those people ahead of you, they're going to be done before you. And all those people that were behind you when you got out of line, they're already done. Do it right. Do it now. Get in line. Right? How you can benefit. Many things are out of your control, but these aren't. Dispute frequently. Make sure you're not leaving any gaps. Dispute all your negative items. Dispute all at the same time in all three bureaus at the same time. Dispute deliberately. Every single word on every single letter matters. Use them deliberately. Create an action plan. If you don't have an action plan, don't dispute. What I mean to say is that if you go into this just jumping in with both feet, not knowing what the heck you're doing, then you're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes are going to cost you. Create an action plan. Know exactly what you're doing and where you're headed. Now, this might look like something that you might want to create. You're going to reach credit land by going through this. And credit land is where you're going to find all the mortgages and the vehicles and the loans and the high limit credit cards and the better life, right? So starting in December 2020 and going to December 2021, there are 4 phases. Creating an action plan and sending out round 1 of your disputes, right? That's December. March 2021 would actually be when phase 2 begins, when you start to see your results, your deletions, and possibly some score increases. And you can say, hey, look, now I'm at the period where I can actually start to apply for things. August 2021, that's phase 3, and then phase 4 in completion, when you should actually be at the end of the road and being able to actually apply for something that matters, such as a mortgage or that vehicle that you want, right? That are actually really, really easy to get because they can take them from you. That's why they're easy to get. That is stage 4. That is phase 4. That would be December 2021. Now you need to decide your best approach. Is this something you want to do yourself? If so, there's a horde of videos and documents and apps and software and whatever that I've created that'll help you to do this for yourself for free. Or do you want it done for you? The choice is yours. If you want me to do it for you, if you want to find out if I can help you, it's not even if you want me to do it for you. If you want to find out if I can help you, then jump on a discovery call with me. The link is on the screen. The link is in the description. The link is in the comments. We'll get on the phone, find out if this is something that is, number one, ethical for me to offer to you. Number two, if you can afford it. Number three, if we're on the same page. And number four, if you have realistic expectations. And number five, if you actually have the negative items that can be removed. All right. Now, I say this because all these other companies, you can go right on their website and you can sign up with them and they accept everybody. I mean, I actually have a commercial playing in my head that I hear like 3 times a week. I'm not going to mention the company, but they take everybody. Yeah, bad credit, no problem. Come sign up. We want your money. Right? We don't turn away anybody. And that is actually the phrase that stuck in my head. We don't turn away anybody. Why? Why wouldn't you? There's people that you just can't help. There's people that are not on the same page. There's people that should not be in that program. So why wouldn't you turn these people away? Why wouldn't you find out, number one, what they have, and number two, whether you can help them before, and number three, they pay. Hello? So no, I don't do fishing. I don't go out and throw my line out and wake up in the morning and find out how many people signed up. No, I know exactly who's in my program because I accepted them into my program. All right. So if you want to find out how I can help and if I can help and whether we can get your score up and whether you can get to credit land by disputing all your negative items every single round, all 3 bureaus every single round, and actually seeing the letters that are going out on your behalf that nobody else provides, then guess what? Use the link, schedule a call, and I'll see if I can help. For everybody else, I will see you later. Sorry that this video got cut off. I didn't realize it until about 10 minutes ago when I replayed the video. My apologies. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Click on one of the other videos that show up on your screen because I have over 450 of them on there and you'll learn something. All right. So see you later. Have a great week. Can't remember how I ended this last night because obviously I don't have the recording, but that is it. Have a great one and stay safe, and I will see you later.